Have you ever noticed something strange? A lot of people today aren't sick in the traditional sense. No big diagnoses, no dramatic symptoms. But they don't feel well either. They wake up already tired, their body feels heavy for no clear reason, their stomach acts up, their mood is low, their sleep is shallow, their focus is gone by mid-afternoon. They go to the hospital, do some tests, and the doctor says everything looks normal. But deep down, they know it's not normal. This book, The Anti-Inflammatory Lifestyle, starts right here with that feeling. Because here's the uncomfortable truth most people don't hear. You don't have to feel pain to be inflamed. When we hear the word inflammation, we think of fever, swelling, redness, something obvious, something loud. But chronic inflammation is quiet. It doesn't shout, it whispers. It slowly irritates your blood vessels. It quietly messes with your digestion. It interferes with your hormones. It affects your brain, your mood, your energy. And it does all of this while you're busy living your life. This chapter asks a simple but powerful question. Why do some people get sick easily while others seem fine for decades? Same age, same city, similar jobs, sometimes even similar habits. One person is constantly exhausted, catching colds, dealing with stomach issues and mood swings. The other looks calm, steady, and resilient. The difference isn't luck, and it's not genetics alone. According to this book, the real difference is what's happening inside the body, whether it's quietly on fire or relatively calm. Inflammation doesn't belong to one disease. It shows up everywhere. In blood vessels, it becomes heart disease. In the gut, it becomes digestive problems. In fat tissue, it becomes metabolic trouble. In the brain, it becomes anxiety, depression, brain fog. Different names, same underlying issue. That's why this chapter doesn't start with symptoms. It starts with patterns. Patterns of how the body reacts to food, to stress, to sleep deprivation, to long hours of sitting, to constant pressure. Healthy people aren't perfect. They're not super disciplined. They don't live in a lab. Their bodies are just less inflamed. Their internal systems aren't constantly irritated. Their immune system isn't always on edge. Their body knows how to calm itself down. And that's the key idea of this chapter. Health isn't about avoiding disease at all costs. It's about keeping the internal environment stable and calm. Because once low-grade inflammation becomes your default state, everything becomes harder. Recovery takes longer, energy drops faster, mood becomes fragile, and small problems turn into chronic ones. This chapter helps you see inflammation not as a medical term, but as a daily process, something shaped by how you eat, move, rest, and handle stress. Not to scare you, not to lecture you, just to help you notice what's been happening quietly in the background of your life. And once you see it, you can finally start turning the fire down. Now here's something most people never think about. When we talk about health problems, we usually talk about places that hurt. The stomach, the back, the head. Pain grabs attention. But the most dangerous problems in the body often happen in places that stay completely silent. Blood vessels are like that. They don't ache. They don't complain. They don't send warning signals you can clearly feel. They just endure. Day after day, blood flows through them. Nutrients, sugar, fat, stress hormones. And when something goes wrong inside those vessels, you don't feel it right away. That's why so many people are shocked when they hear things like, "I never felt anything. I felt totally fine yesterday." Heart attacks and strokes almost never start with pain. They start with years of quiet damage. This book spends a lot of time on blood vessels for a reason. Because inflammation doesn't always show up as discomfort. Sometimes it shows up as stiffness, sometimes as narrowing, sometimes as tiny injuries inside the vessel wall. Imagine a smooth highway. When it's clean and calm, traffic flows easily. No delays, no friction. Now imagine that same road, but every day a little dust settles, a little sand, tiny cracks appear. No one notices at first, cars still pass, but over time the road becomes rough, traffic slows, and one day something gets stuck. That's what chronic inflammation does to blood vessels. It irritates the inner lining, not all at once, not dramatically, just enough to make things a little rougher every year. High sugar levels scrape against the walls. Oxidized fats create irritation. Stress hormones keep the system tense. Lack of movement slows circulation. None of this feels painful. You can work, you can travel, you can laugh. And meanwhile, your blood vessels are working harder than they should. The scary part isn't that this happens, it's that we don't notice it. People often think heart disease is about age, or bad luck, or family history. Those things matter, yes, but this book makes something very clear. Long before a diagnosis, inflammation is already there. Years before blood pressure goes up, years before cholesterol becomes a problem, years before medication enters the picture, the blood vessels are already irritated. And because the process is slow, the body adapts, it compensates, it adjusts, until one day it can't anymore. What makes this especially tricky is that modern life feeds this process perfectly. We sit for hours, we rush meals, we eat foods that spike blood sugar, we stay stressed longer than we recover. From the outside, nothing looks wrong. From the inside, the vessels never fully relax. This is why some people can have normal test results, but still feel off. Low energy, cold hands and feet, brain fog, shortness of breath during simple activity. Small signals, easy to ignore. The book doesn't ask you to panic about your heart. It asks you to notice patterns. How does your body respond after meals? How long does it take to feel calm after stress? Do you feel tight, rushed, or tense most of the day? Those feelings aren't just emotional, they're physical. They reflect how tense or relaxed your blood vessels are. Healthy blood vessels are flexible. They expand and contract easily. They respond quickly. Inflamed blood vessels are stiff, slow to respond, always slightly irritated. And here's the hopeful part. Because this process is slow, it's also reversible, at least to a large degree. The book doesn't focus on extreme interventions, it focuses on daily signals. Movement that reminds blood vessels how to open, foods that stop scraping the walls, rest that allows tension to release. Not because blood vessels are fragile, but because they remember. They remember calm, they remember flow. And once you understand that blood vessels can be quietly inflamed, a lot of things suddenly make sense. Why stress feels physical, why fatigue isn't just being tired, why small lifestyle changes sometimes have surprisingly big effects. This isn't about fearing heart disease. It's about realizing that health begins in places you can't feel and learning how to keep those places calm. And from there, the rest of the body starts to follow. And here's where things start to feel familiar. Because when blood vessels are inflamed, you don't really feel it. But when the gut is inflamed, the body gets loud. Very loud. Most people don't say, "I think my gut is inflamed." They say things like, "My stomach feels off. I get bloated easily. I don't feel good after eating. I'm tired all the time. My mood is weird lately." And they treat these things as separate problems. Stomach issue here, energy problem there, stress maybe. This chapter gently pulls those pieces together because the gut isn't just a tube for food, it's a control center. It talks to the immune system. It talks to the brain. It even talks to your hormones. So when the gut is irritated, the whole body feels unsettled. Here's something the book points out that surprises a lot of people. A gut can be inflamed even if you don't have strong pain. You can still eat, still work, still function, but digestion isn't smooth anymore. Gas builds up, nutrients don't absorb well, and the body reacts. The immune system stays slightly alert all the time, not enough to cause fever, just enough to drain energy. That's why chronic gut inflammation often feels like being tired for no reason. You sleep, but you don't recover. You eat, but you don't feel nourished. The gut lining is supposed to be selective, let nutrients in, keep trouble out. But when it's constantly irritated by stress, by poor sleep, by ultra-processed food, that barrier becomes loose. Not dramatically broken, just leaky enough. And now things that shouldn't get through do. The immune system notices and it reacts. Again and again. Quietly. That's how low-grade inflammation spreads from the gut to the rest of the body. This is why the book keeps coming back to the gut when talking about skin issues, allergies, mood changes, even brain fog. It's not that the gut causes everything, it's that it influences almost everything. Think about how people eat today. Rushed meals, screens on, barely chewing, high sugar, refined carbs, artificial fats. The gut doesn't get a break. Then add stress. When you're stressed, digestion slows down, blood is pulled away from the gut, the environment becomes harsher. Eat in that state, and the gut struggles even more. Over time, inflammation becomes the gut's default mode. People start avoiding foods, blaming themselves, trying random supplements. But the book takes a calmer approach. It doesn't ask what food should you cut forever. It asks, how calm is your digestive system most days? Because a calm gut digests better, absorbs better, communicates better with the rest of the body. One of the most relatable parts of this chapter is how it describes the gut-brain connection. When the gut is inflamed, the brain feels it. People feel more anxious, more irritable, less resilient, not because they're weak, but because inflammation affects neurotransmitters, serotonin, dopamine. A lot of it is produced or regulated in the gut, so when digestion is off, mood often follows. This is why just relax never works. You can't think your way out of gut inflammation. You have to support it physically. The book doesn't push extreme diets. It emphasizes rhythm, regular meals, real food, enough time to digest. It talks about movement, not as exercise, but as a way to gently massage the gut. Walking after meals, stretching, letting the body stay in motion. Small things, daily things, because the gut responds to consistency, not intensity. And once the gut starts calming down, something interesting happens. Energy returns slowly, mood stabilizes, cravings soften. Not overnight, but steadily. That's why so many people resonate with this part of the book. They finally see that their random symptoms aren't random at all. They're signals. Signals that the gut has been irritated for a long time and is asking for a calmer way of living. And once you hear that, it's hard to unhear it. Because suddenly, digestion isn't just about food, it's about how you live your day. And now comes the part that surprises almost everyone. Because when people hear the word fat, they think of appearance, weight, numbers on a scale. This book talks about fat in a completely different way. It says, fat is not silent storage. Fat is active, especially the fat around the belly. That soft layer people joke about, the one that shows up after years of stress, late nights, and rushed meals. According to this chapter, that fat isn't just sitting there. It's talking, it's releasing signals, and many of those signals promote inflammation. This is where the idea feels uncomfortable but important. Fat tissue produces inflammatory substances, not a little, not occasionally, continuously. The more fat there is, especially deep belly fat, the more inflammation is being released into the bloodstream. That means inflammation doesn't only come from food or stress. Sometimes it's coming from your own tissue. This is why the book is very careful with language. It doesn't shame weight. It doesn't focus on looks. It focuses on environment. Fat creates an internal environment that's warmer, noisier, more inflammatory, and the body responds to that environment every single day. This helps explain something many people have experienced. They gain some weight, not a lot, just enough, and suddenly energy drops, sleep feels worse, joints feel stiff, blood sugar becomes unstable. They think, I'm just getting older, but the book offers another explanation. It's not age, it's inflammation coming from fat tissue that wasn't there before. One of the most eye-opening points in this chapter is that fat changes immune behavior. It attracts immune cells. It keeps them activated. So the immune system is never fully at rest. Again, not enough to cause fever, just enough to keep the body slightly tense. That constant low-level alert state drains energy. It makes recovery slower. It makes stress hit harder. And because this happens gradually, people adapt to it. They think feeling heavy is normal, feeling sluggish is normal, needing caffeine just to function is normal. But it's not. The book uses a powerful image here. It describes fat as a kind of slow-burning heater, not a fire, not smoke, just warmth that never turns off. The body is always trying to cool itself down. That's exhausting. This also explains why belly fat is different from fat in other places. Fat under the skin is one thing, fat around the organs is another. Visceral fat sits close to the liver, intestines, and blood vessels. Its inflammatory signals travel fast, straight into circulation. That's why belly fat is so closely linked to heart disease, diabetes, and metabolic issues, not because of how it looks, but because of what it does. Here's the part that feels hopeful. Fat is responsive. Unlike damage to organs, fat tissue changes relatively quickly when conditions change. Reduce inflammation, and fat becomes less inflammatory. Reduce stress, and fat becomes less reactive. This is why the book doesn't push aggressive weight loss. It pushes calming the system. When sleep improves, when meals stabilize blood sugar, when movement becomes regular, fat stops screaming. It doesn't need to disappear overnight. It just needs a calmer environment. People often think weight loss gives health. This chapter flips that idea. Health gives weight loss. When inflammation drops, appetite normalizes, cravings soften, energy returns, and weight often follows without force. Another important point the book makes is about shame. Shame increases stress, stress increases inflammation, inflammation makes fat more active. It's a loop. So beating yourself up over weight actually feeds the very process you're trying to stop. This chapter encourages a different mindset. Instead of asking, how do I lose fat? It asks, how do I make my body feel safer? Safety calms inflammation, calm reduces fat activity. That's the order. This way of thinking changes how people approach food, movement, and rest, not as punishment, but as regulation. And once people hear this, they often say something like, so it's not that my body is broken, it's that it's overwhelmed. That realization alone is relieving because it shifts the focus from control to care. And that's why this section hits so hard. It explains why doing everything right but staying stressed doesn't work, why extreme diets backfire, why slow, steady changes often win. Fat isn't the enemy. Inflammation is, and fat just happens to be the loudest messengers. Now let's talk about something that hits even closer to home. Because if blood vessels are silent and the gut sometimes whispers, the brain shouts. You feel it in ways you can't ignore. Your mood swings. You get anxious for no reason. Your focus drifts away by mid-morning. You lie in bed at night staring at the ceiling, thinking about all the things you should have done. and you tell yourself, I just need to relax. But it doesn't work, does it? That's because chronic inflammation isn't only in the gut or fat, it can live in your brain too. The book explains this in a way that's easy to grasp. Inflammation in the brain doesn't always mean a headache or fever. It means your neurons aren't firing as smoothly. Your neurotransmitters, things like serotonin, dopamine, GABA, get out of balance. And when that happens, you feel it as mood swings, anxiety, or brain fog. Ever wonder why a bad night's sleep makes you irritable the next day? Or why stress seems to snowball, leaving you drained for days? Or even small decisions feel exhausting? That's brain inflammation. And it doesn't just appear overnight. It builds slowly, often for years. Stress, poor sleep, processed food, inactivity, all of these keep it simmering. Fat tissue, remember that slow-burning heater we just talked about? It releases inflammatory molecules that travel straight to the brain. Your gut, when irritated, signals through the nervous system and immune system to the brain. Even your blood vessels, if inflamed, affect brain health. It's like the brain is living in a house that's constantly buzzing with low-level alarms. You can't always see them, but you feel them. Some people describe it as foggy thinking. Some notice anxiety creeping in for no apparent reason. Others feel restless, irritable, or unmotivated. The book emphasizes that this isn't weakness, it's biology. Inflammation changes the brain's chemistry, and the longer it's there, the more it reinforces patterns of stress and low energy. And here's the kicker. When the brain is inflamed, sleep suffers too. You lie down, but your mind races. You toss and turn. You wake up tired, even after a full night. Then your body reacts. Cortisol, the stress hormone, stays elevated. Your metabolism slows. Your cravings spike. Fat tissue becomes more inflammatory. See the loop? Brain inflammation feeds stress. Stress feeds more inflammation, and it spreads to other parts of the body. It can make healthy habits feel impossible. Even if you eat well, move regularly, and sleep enough, a brain on fire can make it feel like you're starting from zero. This is why the book doesn't just focus on food or exercise. It focuses on daily rhythms, small habits, and environment. Simple things like getting sunlight in the morning, taking short walks after meals, limiting screen time before bed, practicing gentle breathing or meditation, not because they're magic, but because they calm inflammation and help the brain reset. The book also stresses that it's cumulative. You can't fix years of simmering inflammation overnight, but small daily steps consistently applied gradually reduce the heat in the brain. And as the brain cools down, something remarkable happens. You notice focus returning, mood stabilizing, sleep becoming deeper, energy levels improving, and suddenly things that felt impossible, decisions, motivation, managing stress, become easier. Another point the book makes is that emotional awareness is critical. Brain inflammation doesn't just show up as sadness or anxiety. It can show up as irritability, forgetfulness, or even lack of motivation. And most people misinterpret these signals. They blame themselves. They try to push harder instead of listening to what their body is actually telling them. By learning to recognize these signs, you can start taking actions that actually calm the brain. That's why this chapter resonates so much. It's not just biology, it's your lived experience finally making sense. Because all those nights of restless sleep, days of foggy thinking, random anxiety, they're not random. They're signals from inflammation in your brain. And once you hear that, it's empowering. Not scary, not judgmental, just clear. Clear enough to start making choices that actually help. Choices like walking more, eating calming, anti-inflammatory foods, getting proper sleep, managing stress in ways that actually work for your body.
And over time, your brain calms down, your mood stabilizes, your sleep returns, and your energy comes back. You start noticing patterns in your body you couldn't see before. And that's the goal of this chapter, to make you see that fatigue, irritability, anxiety, and sleep trouble aren't just life or stress, they're signals. Signals that your brain is inflamed and your body is asking for attention. And once you notice, you can start making small, meaningful changes that actually work.
And finally, let's zoom out. Because so far, we've talked about blood vessels, the gut, fat tissue, and the brain. You might be thinking, okay, my blood vessels are quietly inflamed, my gut complains, my belly fat is buzzing, and my brain is foggy. What now? That's exactly the point. Because inflammation isn't just in one spot. It can be everywhere, at a low level, always simmering. And that's the part most people miss. You might not notice a specific symptom. Maybe you don't have pain, bloating, or anxiety every day, but your energy feels off. Your sleep isn't fully refreshing. Your mood drifts more than it used to. That's your body telling you something's going on inside. The book describes this as whole body, low-grade inflammation. It's not dramatic, it's not urgent, it doesn't scream, it just whispers. But over years, those whispers accumulate. They slowly make life feel harder. Recovery takes longer, stress hits deeper, minor illnesses linger. Think about how we live today. We sit for hours at work, we snack on processed food, we scroll on our phones before bed, we rush meals, we stress, often without realizing it. It's like keeping a small fire burning inside your body all the time. No smoke, no flames, nothing obvious, but still burning. And the more you ignore it, the bigger the problem gets. That's why this chapter doesn't just focus on individual organs. It's about patterns, daily habits, small signals your body gives that show inflammation is present. Once you see it this way, it's not scary, it's actionable. The book encourages paying attention to things like how you feel after meals, how your energy changes through the day, how easily you recover from stress, how your mood fluctuates, how you sleep. All of these are clues, not reasons to panic, just signs pointing to low-grade inflammation. And the hopeful message is that it's reversible. Because chronic inflammation isn't set in stone. It's influenced by daily choices, by what you eat, by how you move, by how you rest, by how you manage stress. Small steps compound. A short walk each day helps blood vessels and the gut. Eating anti-inflammatory foods calms fat tissue. Sleeping better soothes the brain. Gentle breathing and relaxation techniques reduce overall stress. And over time, the quiet fire dims. Energy returns, mood stabilizes, sleep deepens, digestion improves. People often notice subtle things first. Hands feel warmer, back feels looser, focus comes easier, cravings soften. Then bigger changes follow. Weight stabilizes naturally, illnesses occur less frequently, stress feels manageable instead of overwhelming. The chapter ends with a powerful reminder. Health isn't about perfection. It's not about strict rules or extreme diets. It's about gently lowering the heat in your body every day. And the body responds beautifully because the internal environment sets the tone. Once it's calm, your body can repair, adapt, and thrive.
So, when you think about inflammation, don't just imagine one organ or one symptom. Think of it as a pattern, a lifestyle signal, a fire that, when addressed early and consistently, can be controlled before it spreads. That's the wisdom this chapter gives. Notice the whispers, take small, consistent actions, calm the internal fire, and gradually your body feels lighter, more energetic, and alive again. It's simple, it's not magic, but it works. And once you experience that, you start seeing your life differently. Every meal, every walk, every restful night matters because you're not just surviving, you're actively supporting your body's natural balance. And that's the core of the first chapter of the Anti-Inflammatory Lifestyle. It's not about chasing perfection, it's about noticing the quiet signals, understanding them, and making small, consistent choices that keep your body calm, energized, and resilient.